The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. It is just three musketeers, the three amigos.
Three amigos. Actually, is that
copywritten? Bestie isn't
oh,
here.
shit, yeah, that's right. I thought I had it before.
Bestie isn't here. Bestie is at a sandwich convention.
Is he?
Yeah.
His turn this year.
Yeah. BLT.
What have I missing here?
No, nothing. So it is just myself, Chris, alongside Degga and Mark tonight. And Degga started off for the second week in a row.
Well, when you know,
Get
in the lads.
Easy work, isn't it, Mark?
Well, lads.
Easy work, isn't it? People won't get that. Like, people might not get that.
You might not.
Yeah, easy work, Mark.
Brilliant.
It was, well, you would have thought it was easy work with the performance and obviously the result, but
We'll get on to it.
You might not have known with our group, though.
I know.
Goodness me. When I went in for 5 minutes, I was like, I thought I was watching a different game.
It was just one of them ones, wasn't it? Where we were absolutely on top, like absolutely
On
battering them on top. Well, that's for a good long length of time.
He's been watching something else, hasn't he?
Nah.
Length and on top. And
It's your conversation before.
True,
But them problems that we've been having for them for a few weeks now, just not being able to get that
not the finish.
the finish.
This is how we're starting tonight.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Sorry.
I apologize, everybody. Well,
I think we should start again.
we're,
No, I'm
we're
joking.
3 minutes in, and as you can tell, this is how we're setting up.
I hope
for
this isn't the
tonight.
climax.
This is like a bit like the pre-recording days in the Ashley, where we'd try and start and go, well, I have to cut and start again. Sorry about that. We'll start now.
Yeah, we don't have that option anymore, do we? Yeah, Eddie Howe named it an unchanged 11.
Yeah.
His hand was slightly forced, I think, because the injury to Almiron. So injury, which was 3 weeks, but now Eddie Howe's changed that to 6 weeks now. So
That's normal with our injuries. You'll be out for a couple of hours 6 years later.
It's not what you want, like, is it? Don't get us wrong. It's the unchanged side, I think, was fine. I'm sure we discussed the week before about would Murphy start or Miggy, because at that time Miggy had scored and we weren't sure. And we're still, I think we all agreed that Murphy would start. Obviously definitely going to start, and to be fair, it must be amazing for the likes of Murphy that the competition for your position. I know, I appreciate obviously Gordon, he's injured now, but Miggy's out now. You know that you're going to get a bit of a run here.
Game,
you know what I mean? So it must be really must be exciting for him as well, but no problems with the starting 11. And what Mark's saying there, the performance, man, from minute one really was really good. I mean, we're all over them, we were pressing them. That they had no one. Really, they couldn't stop her coming forward. They couldn't stop her. Especially on the right hand side, I felt were really causing problems on the right hand side, and we just looked a class above. But again, we do struggle to finish. Do you know what I mean? We do. And in fairness, really, if we're being truthful, I'm going to jump forward for a couple of seconds. But even when you think of the opportunities where we hit the bar and stuff, like there were deflections. One of them was one of their players hitting the bar. We weren't really cutting them open. Does that make sense? We had loads of great possession and we looked great on the ball, but didn't really look like getting that final pass right or perhaps that final shot right.
We couldn't get a clear opening, could we?
Yeah, no,
it was difficult. I mean, there was a lot of times where they were chucking the bodies on the line and
Shelby
blocks and stuff like that to try and stop with getting through. But we were just camped out around the edge of their box for long periods, trying to feed it into the box. We were at least shooting. this week from distance and stuff like that, and from breaking into the box where we haven't always done it.
I was so pleased, that I complained for weeks about getting the ball in the box, and that is why I'm telling you, and Mark will fall out. That's why I really like Murphy on there, because Murphy's a little bit more of a traditional. He can only really go one way normally.
That ball in,
but God, he'll get it in as fast as he can, and he puts a good dangerous ball in. And it is right. Not every cross is going to be perfect, right? But I just feel get it in the middle a little bit more often, and definitely the last few weeks we've been doing that.
Murphy beats the first man as well, which is always good to see.
He does. He puts a great ball in. He really. Some of his appearances off the bench, he wasn't getting massive amounts of minutes, but you knew even for 10 minutes he was putting 2 or 3 very, very good crosses in. We just didn't have any on the end. I think he even joked, didn't he, on Instagram?
Yeah,
saying next guy on the end of one of mine type of thing, which is funny because he's putting them in there and good luck to them.
Well, the stats over after the weekend, he came out with 5 chances created in that game, which is really good. And I've joked about it for a few weeks, and then things about the inverted wingers, and that it just goes to show you, because that was the issue that we had. With having Almiron in there, he's going to want to come back and get it onto his left foot, or play it back to Trippier and then whip it in with his right, which wasn't happening for a start. But with him, you've got that ball down the line, and he just wraps his boot around it and gets it in. And like we said, a number of times, not just this weekend, but previous when he has came in and played and stuff like that, he's been doing it, and it makes a difference.
Because the odd time on the other side of the field, where Maxi, we all know he's going to come inside, but even on the odd time where he does try and cross it, it's normally with his left foot, and it's never good. It's always going to be a dragged one that gets cleared easy. So really, in terms of putting a ball in, you've only really got
that's
really the right hand side. Really, to be honest, that's going to put a decent ball in.
Yeah, you're probably right. What I want to do on this recording, I just want to pick certain moments of the game up, because there's obviously a huge talking point, which is probably going to take quite a chunk of this recording, this show tonight. Me and Decker did just record another video about VAR and if referees should be mic'd up, but we'll touch on that a little bit later, and that video will be released in the next couple of days for members first of all. So become a member. It's $2.99 a month, and like the video and subscribe.
Lads,
asking for a lot here, aren't we? So one of the things which I want to touch on first of all is this. That was like a Carragher moment there, wasn't it? Is John Joe Shelvey. He was trying his hardest to put Bruno off his game, basically, / injure him. He was relentless, and how the referee didn't book him in the first handful. Well, the first 15 minutes, because he was non-stop.
But wasn't just him. I mean, I'm sure we'll get onto it, but I thought the referee throughout the entire game was absolutely woeful. He let them get away with so much. Like you say, Shelvey, I can think of at least 3 fouls, blatant fouls on Bruno, which anyone take a pick of any one of those, and it's a booking. But obviously he knows that he's that danger man in the middle of the park, and if you take him out of the game, that's a lot of Newcastle's creativity and retention of the ball gone. So target him, give him a kick every now and again, and I don't say it worked, but he didn't. It kind of made the game move from outside of the middle of the park, because he wasn't involved as much, because it was just getting kicked out, and it tended to go out the right more, like you were saying, and stuff like that.
To be fair to Bruno, though, he took some of those challenges.
No, he really did, because I was worried. There was a scissor one that Shelvey did. I thought
early on.
That was the
was a real bad one. And I was worried because of Bruno. He's got issues with his ankles anyway. I would think anyway, and he was really putting it about. At first, I was thinking, is it because he is the player that is kind of replace Shelvey, if you know what I mean, like that role, and maybe is Shelvey trying to leave it on him?
I don't think it was more of a jealousy thing as such. I think it was just tactics. I think that's all that it was.
He's probably thought let's rattle him. Yeah. And Mark's right. It wasn't just Shelvey. It was their game plan certainly early on was, well, just kick lumps out of these. Like,
it was like Cher was the same as well, hitting him around the ankles because they know he's got problems there. It was a shocking one by Ayew.
Challenges.
That was a bad. His ankle got trapped with under.
Yeah.
It was dangerous. That was dangerous. Yeah.
So
they were really kicking lumps out. I thought. Like,
can you remember who the first player was to get booked?
Probably one of ours, was it? I don't actually know, but I don't know.
Dan Burn for questioning the decision which was made.
Oh, was it? That was when he cleared the ball, wasn't it?
I was shouting and bowling at that point, but actually, to be fair, it was out. But still, you know,
That he was the first one to get booked.
But Shelby should have been in the book way before that. And interestingly, probably if he played for us, he would have been. Because I was stunned he was getting away with the amount of fouls he was making, and not just like
that scissors was a typical Shelby tackle.
Oh Christ, wasn't it? Yeah. It was one of them where he had been done and was pissed off on it, and he just I'm gonna get you. It was really bad. Like, to be honest,
there was a few times though, and I just want a tip of the cap to Sean Longstaff. He was straight over there, like kicking off with a ref, saying, "Hang on a second, why is he not being booked?"
Was he whinging?
He was whinging. Shelby wasn't too pleased with that either.
They were at each other all game then.
Yeah,
they were verbally walking past each other. You could see them constantly barging into each other off the ball as well. There was a few times like they were knocking each other and stuff. It was as if there was something underlying there, but I don't know. But yeah, they were definitely not happy.
Sean Longstaff throwing his weight about, man. You love to see it.
I think it's because there's that relationship there with Shelby. I mean, you've seen it like in the behind the scenes footage and stuff like that. Even before the game, club released like that the clip of him in the tunnel and stuff like that, outside the dressing room, meeting every player, greeting them and stuff like that. You can see he's got a real connection with every player that's there, and it's weird. Like him in that red shirt just looks weird to me.
It did, and I agree that he's even came out, hasn't he, and said that he's so proud to have played for us and being a part of what we are and blah 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 blah. And at the end of the day, right, like you imagine the roles were reversed, and like let's say we signed someone from Forest, let's say Forest, and he didn't really put a challenge in and was nicey nice, and we seen photos before. We seen the photos hugging players and that. We'd be like, what the hell? And you can't question him. At the end of the day, he's moved club, and he gave it on that performance. He gave everything he had. He put some really good passes in there. He had a couple of shots. He was certainly trying, and their fans must have loved him for it.
Would have been trying his hardest to beat us
100%,
on that night, and that's where sometimes he gets carried away, and there's that thin line with John Joe Shelby.
He had two great chances as well, where he hits one, then it comes back out of him, then he smashes that, and it goes wide. Pope has it covered anyway, but he was anticipating that hit in the back of the net, and he was 100% going to celebrate that.
He would have loved it. He would have absolutely loved it,
right in front of our fans,
because he's an absolute shithouse.
We'll love it. We'll love it. Yeah. But some of the challenges were a bit naughty, like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
100%. The one on Shea very, very early on, I was thought, oh God, we're going to lose him, because Lascelles was warming up straight away.
And you've got to remember, Fabian Shea pulled out the Swiss side as well because of pain in his foot. Yeah. Then just 5 minutes into the game, he's down holding that foot, and I'm thinking, if he has Lascelles coming, and I don't think it would have been bad things Lascelles coming on. He's playing against his former club as well. Mm-hmm. But obviously, Fabian dropping out and Lascelles coming in, it's not a like for like replacement as in regards to centre backs, really. No. Lascelles, you know exactly what you're going to get from Lascelles, but luckily it didn't happen, and Fabian stayed on. Moving on to, shall we just go straight with our goal? Our first goal?
Well, I should talk about their goal.
Okay.
Because they did come first.
Okay.
So even before that, I would have talked about as well. Just let's completely spoil his running order, shall we?
Go on then. What are you going to do?
I'd never have a running order, you know I don't.
What about the little free kick routine where we hit the crossbar from Isak?
Oh, yes.
Right, okay. Yeah.
That was before, that was when it was
0-0 then.
0-0 at that point, wasn't it?
Oh, it was beautiful. Absolutely
so very
beautiful.
clever. And it's clearly something which we have been working on, and that's all set pieces, because we have been trying new things recently. Well, since Eddie Howe came in as well, but even more so now.
Well, it had gone a bit stale, hadn't it, with the set pieces?
Short corners as well, yeah. But we saw one just a couple of weeks ago as well, didn't we? It came out, but we fucked it up, and it ended up going right back to keeper.
Well, it was just the corner last week as well, obviously, where we were wasting time in the corner and then run it along the byline.
Exactly.
Stuff like that. So
I think when you're trying to be cute like it, you are going to get caught at times. I say not caught meaning you concede. What I mean is like they look shit. Do you know what I mean? Because you're trying to be cute and clever, and it might not work. And like, for example, that one to Isak, as you mentioned, that could have been cut out by the wall if that pass wasn't right. And everyone, what the hell? You just shoot from there. But the pass, it was a great pass. Like, it was a great pass. And Isak's actual attempt was actually quite poor on reflection of the replay. It wasn't ever going to go in. But it was really cute, though. It was lovely. And how the hell did that not go in, though? I mean, that lad just stuck a leg on it. And I mean, Jesus, man. It was unbelievable how that didn't go in. But it was a lovely free kick.
It just looped up, didn't it? And then off the crossbar. And then you normally see them ones just bounce down and it's in.
I honestly was getting worried then, is it going to be one of these days?
Yeah. Well, more so as the game went on as well.
Like, we're not going to score you. But no, I agree. It was really, really nice. That was. It was. I'm sure it might have been Shelby actually who clattered someone on the edge of the box.
It was.
And that was when I thought he needs to be booked now, and he still wasn't.
Yeah.
And then obviously,
did Shelby get booked?
No,
You didn't,
I
did he?
don't know. Because I stuck a fiver on him. I stuck a fiver on the second half, and I didn't get any money from him.
Stuck a fire in like first couple of minutes of the game, you'd be thinking, this is coming in 100%.
Well, he made
Well, even before the game,
I know.
yeah, odds on.
It was
Shelby's
after
picking
them
up a
two.
booking, innit?
It was after them two challenges, and I went on. It was suspended for ages, and then eventually it came on. So I stuck a fiver on him, and so unbelievable how he didn't get booked. Like, but
So yeah, their goal.
Yeah.
I mentioned on the match reaction. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch it because we're going into it a little bit of detail. Myself, Scott, and Ian did that on Saturday morning. But is that a simultaneous drink that we'd had from the pair you there? So their goal. Are we taking turns to make a defensive error, and it's just working its way around the back five?
Yeah, well, it's is it worrying? Is it worrying? It might not be worrying, but like I'm worried. But like you're right though. You've got Pope making mistakes. Trippier made a howler last week. You've got Botman making
Dan
a howler
Burns
this
made a
week.
couple.
It's
Whoa.
Don't pick on Dan Burn. Mark's a big fan.
Have you noticed Dan Burns stands when he's defending like a bridge? His legs are so wide apart.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
There's probably a reason for that.
Moving on.
But it was. I mean, Shelby's just pumped the ball sort of down the line. He used to do that for us all the time, didn't he? Just that whip ball, trying to put it in an area which maybe Botman or someone would just head out for a throw in, that type of thing, and move you up the field. And Botman just hasn't looked, has he? He just hasn't looked. To be fair to Dennis, of course we'll come on to the finish, but
great run.
To be fair to him, a lot of strikers might have just accepted, oh well, he's there first.
Yeah, you don't see that very often, taking a risk.
He gambles, and Botman obviously passes it back, and unfortunately now the finish is it's as good as you'll see, you know. Honestly, it is. It's an amazing finish, that, because Pope does as much as he can. He tries to stand up as long as he can. He doesn't commit for a penalty. That chip's just unbelievable. Like,
why doesn't Botman go at the ball though?
I think it just happens
he runs
fast.
past it to go, like, as if he's trying to get back onto the line for some reason.
Or maybe he's thinking
like that,
Pope's there. Like, Pope's there. I don't know.
I think
if he runs past the player and the ball, why not just front him up? Like, I don't know whether he doesn't want to tackle him in fear of giving away a penalty or something, but like there was just no challenge on the man on the ball. He just
I think we're being a bit harsh. I think it just happens so quick. He gives the ball away, and before he knows it, that ball's getting lifted over Pope.
It's honestly what a chip.
Trippier tries his hardest, and Trippier's probably a split second away from getting his head on that.
He's a good foot, too short though.
Yeah, because actually at first I thought, could he have jumped, like, you know, try and stretch
it just
higher,
happens like
just,
that. It's so quick, and you've got to give credit to the striker, because
it is, yeah.
If that's one of our lads
that
scoring,
doesn't he? Between the,
I think if you
between
put him there another 10 times, he might not score again. I really don't. It was such a good finish, and I have to
it's
credit
like a golfer's finish, Decker.
It was like a nice little sandwich, you know, like it was lovely. But you know, everyone's obviously, you know, smashing Botman for it, and of course it's his fault. Of course it is, but you know, it happens.
Silly moment, wasn't it?
It's a silly moment.
Like you say, he just doesn't look.
No,
he's running back to play, picks up the ball, not a single glance, and he just plays the ball across towards the keeper, and he's there.
I think it's one of them, you know, where, like, I know it's a bad mistake, right? And but I'll always try and defend players, and that it's probably the first mistake the guy's ever made. Like, and it happens. It's football. It happens. Like, it happens. And
so,
obviously, if it's happening every week, there's a different story. But you know,
Anonymous One brings up a great point here. He says any other keeper and Dennis wouldn't have been there. Do you think it's because the last couple of weeks we have seen Pope crumble a little bit under pressure? I would say.
What, you're saying that Pope didn't come out quick enough?
No, I'm saying that the striker Dennis thought, take a gamble here because we've seen what's happened the last few games.
I don't know if that's going through his. I don't know if that's, you know, in that exact moment, if that's going through his head. Do you think
Forrest might have actually looked at that though and pinpointed that?
Well, I would. If I was a manager, I'd say every time then pass back, charge him down. That's what I would say.
Any striker's going to charge. If a ball goes back towards a keeper, your striker's going to charge it down, isn't he? Regardless of how good you are with your feet, because I guess that's what he's getting at. Is Pope's a bit ropey with his feet, but
certainly recent games as well.
If the ball's going that way, you're going to try and, you know, chase it down, because put him under pressure. Does he fluff his kick? Or in this instance, he intercepts the ball.
I did think Dennis made a very good run. I have to be fair.
Great.
I really do. And the finish was absolutely
Daryl says the thing that annoyed me about the goal was they'd had now to sniff at all game, and we gave them a chance on a plate and they scored.
That was what my dad was saying this, and my dad was absolutely raging because he was saying,
battered them.
He said, well, battering them and we're being caught again, type of thing. And it was a bit like, it felt like old Newcastle in a way. Not that we've ever been great going forward, but like we're on one of the better games we've actually been playing quite well and we're going to concede. You know what I mean? And interestingly, again, I mean, how didn't know this? I was very surprised after the game.
First game, yeah.
He didn't know that, and I thought
the first game that they won after conceding
first. I thought he would have knew that, like, but anyway, he didn't. I wouldn't say I was concerned because I was saying, like, to me, dad, when I was watching, I was like, if we'll just keep playing the same way, we'll get one. We'll get a goal. Because we're playing really, really well, but of course it was a massive sucker punch, like, because they didn't deserve to be ahead by any stretch, you know.
Far from it. But if we go up to the other side of the goal and we scored a perfect time, it was coming though, because we were just throwing the pressure, and that pressure was building and building, and the goal, it's just fantastic, isn't it?
It beggars belief how he does it. It's like he literally karate kicks it into the goal, doesn't he?
Yeah. So the ball, obviously we can go for the passage of play, but just cut it off. It goes. Maxie's away to pass to Willock. Willock, he's basically on the edge of the box, really, on the right hand side. And perfect, dinks that in.
Stands it up beautifully.
Dinks it in. It looks like it's in the air for ages, that ball. Hence why he's like run ahead of it.
Yeah.
Then it's probably it's a great that Isak's body shape is the way it is in that moment, because his legs are taller than me.
To me, it is absolute Papi Cissé.
Mm.
It's just a Cissé finish, which it's instinctive. It's just, you know what I mean, creating the body shape or whatever it may be to get it on target, or the best you can anyway to get on target. It was very, very Cissé-esque in that regard for me. But I think I want to credit, because I'm going to talk about him a little bit later on, I would imagine. I know Isak obviously got the plaudits. Let's be very clear here. He was unbelievable. But I thought Joe Willock again was unbelievable that game, you know.
So this is what happens with football in general, and any pundits that pick man of the match, they normally give it to the player that scores. And if Isak's scoring 2, of course he's going to get it off the pundits. But for me, I would have still gave that to Joe Willock, because he was fantastic. Probably one of his best games he's ever had.
Well, he's now string 2 together, because I thought against Wolves he was tremendous, and it's really good. And it's not easy either for a player to string games together. But that's 2 in a row now where he's been tremendous. Like,
he loses points for his shot early on in the first 5-10 minutes.
Oh yeah, that was awful.
That was awful.
Yeah, he should have scored. Probably should have scored.
What was it? He was a very, very good performance.
Brilliant.
He was everywhere, wasn't he? Full of energy, full of running.
Really
I think he had to do a lot more of it, because he didn't have Joe Linton up alongside of him, bashing people left, right, and centre.
And I wanted to pick on just for 1 second, sorry, that you mentioned about them. Oh, we both did. Sorry, about like how aggressive them were. And I'd said to me, Dad, I feel like we're missing Joe Linton. Not. Listen, we're fine. We're going forward really well. It was just someone to give it back a bit more, because we're midfield enforcer. You got Bruno, you got Longstaff, you've got Willock. You know, I mean, that was it. Yates maybe was having a right go at Willock.
He was awful. Him wasn't he?
Awful. He's another one though that if he plays for you, you love him because he works hard, he gets stuck in. But of course, when he's not for you, you didn't like him. But I just thought, God, I wish Joe Linton was on, because he would have bashed everyone all over the pitch here. Sorry to digress, but yes,
I think we did miss him, but we didn't miss him. If that,
I know what you mean.
The game changes if Joe Linton's playing.
What do you mean?
I don't think we put as much pressure on if Joe Linton's playing.
Well, maybe
because
not.
I think Willock,
he was unbelievable.
Just Willock's performance that game, he was just constantly driving forward. Then obviously you've got Murphy on the right hand side, he was doing the same. Maxi was doing the same on the left hand.
Not as much. Maxi, I thought, was quite poor. I thought Maxi.
Do you ever think?
Yeah, I did. I didn't think he offered much at all. I didn't honestly. Really? No, I think.
I thought Maxi had an average game.
Average. I'd say average. Yeah, but I think if you're thinking of Murphy, I think Murphy played miles better than him.
Murphy was good,
and I thought Willock. The thing is with Willock, right? Is I'm not saying it's a free roll by any stretch, but like 1 minute you'll see him doing great work on the left. I mean, that lovely little flick. I mean, it went to the lad's legs, which makes it look prettier. But he's, that lovely like back heel he did.
That's Willock's?
Willock's on the left, and then you've got the cross that he creates for the goal, which is on the right, and he nearly scores coming in kind of centrally from the left. Like he's so aware of where he needs to be, and I'm not saying it's a free roll necessarily, of course, but he has the energy to be all over the pitch. 1 minute he'll be tackling someone left back for you, but then he'll be running forward at right wing. Honest to God, he's something else. Like he's a very, very good player.
We've already got the conversation happening in the chat, and we're not going to highlight this week. Where people disagreeing about Maxi's performance already in the chat.
That's fine.
Maxi was awful. Maxi was shite. Maxi did well for the goal.
He did do well, but no one will give him credit for that. He passed the ball, believe it or not.
It's ridiculous. But
It's mental.
We'll
mate.
move on.
It's mental.
We'll move on. But yeah, we'll score at a perfect time. And I think once we get that one, we'll think the game is ours.
It was a great time to score. Like I give it that. Like it was, yeah.
So halftime whistle comes. The players come back out for the second half, and Maxi...
just before we did score though, there was a little spat on the touchline.
That's one of the questions for later on. That's why I've skipped that. Yeah.
Hold that. If you want to answer this question, like the video.
So yeah.
Well,
are you talking about Graham Jones?
We're not talking about it now.
Yeah, we will.
Is that what you're hinting at, though?
Maybe.
Okay, right. So yeah, there is a question about this later on. If anybody else have any questions, send them our way. If you remember, we'll go through it. If you all remember, and any leftovers, if we'll have time, we'll go through the rest of them at that point too. Yeah. So players come out for the second half. Maxi is substituted, and Elliot Anderson comes on.
Rightfully so, because he was awful.
Did well for the goal. Eddie Howe's now came out and said that it was a hamstring injury, I believe.
Yeah. Feeling hamstring.
Hence, and people, we've had a comment before we even went live saying that we fell for that's a word I'm looking for because I can't go back and read it. He said that we fell for Eddie Howe's line by saying that Maxi was injured when really it was a tactical substitution. So apparently Eddie Howe's lying now about why he's making.
Well, to be fair, Eddie Howe lies. Eddie Howe lies to her every single week.
True. Was it you commenting in before you walked into this room?
Being a account.
He explained exactly why. Yeah. He explained that before half time.
Defending Maxi.
He was feeling
Eddie Howe, I think.
He was feeling a hammy, so Howe moved him centre forward.
And Isak confirmed that as well.
And Isak confirmed, I got asked to move because he was feeling a bit of an injury. Turns out it worked fine because the goal came, because that goal had never happened. Let's be very clear here. That goal would have never, ever happened if he hadn't have made that. Now, he's made it. He hasn't made it tactically. He's made it to try and save someone. But that goal doesn't happen, does it? Do you think it happens if he doesn't move him?
No, but I'm waiting for you to put the spin onto that, to saying that the goal was all down to Saints.
No, not at all. What I'm saying, I'm not just saying Maxi's pass.
I know get what you're saying, because Isak's out on the left, and had he been central, he wouldn't have been arriving.
He probably would have been running where Will it was, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
So it's just one of them. Football's a funny thing, but
it's that bit of luck that we've been missing, hasn't it?
Right.
And I know obviously there's a tactical change, so you're making your own look, but you still got to, have that where the way that the play progresses and then the ball arrives to him there, because, and like we've said, any other player in that position wouldn't have been able to get themselves up off the ground, twist, get the leg behind them, and pull it round and basically side kick the ball.
I mean, imagine that was Maxi, because technically he could have been in the left side. No chance he's scoring that. No way.
I don't think there's many players that will score that.
No way, no.
To be honest,
bounced off his bandages and just trickled to the keeper.
Well, he did score a hell of a goal against Wolves, but never mind.
3 years ago.
Yeah. But he's not scoring that.
Yeah.
Much
Elliot Anderson comes on, and this is another talking point. And Elliot Anderson had an absolutely brilliant game.
Very good.
I'm a big fan. I've said it for a while when I've been on here. And I know we've only seen little glimpses of him, but there's a player there. You can see there's a player there, man.
Eddie Howe came out afterwards, and obviously the pundits were talking about Elliot Anderson's impact, and he says that he's a very technical player, and he can play in a variety of positions on that left-hand side, especially, and we saw it in that game.
Well, we've seen him up front, we've seen him on the left, we've seen him in the middle, and he's got that flexibility in his game to be able to go in and adapt to different positions, get in there, and he's not called Jody Maradona for nothing. He's definitely got that technical ability.
Is that what he's said?
Jody Maradona.
Jody Maradona.
Well, do you know something I wanted to give him credit for? Was he did something Maxi would have never done in a million years. That run he made, and I slipped. I couldn't believe it, but he slipped. What a great run! What a run that is, man! It's honest to God. When they show you the replay again, it was perfect. It was exactly what that moment needed. Was exactly that run, and he did it. And so unlucky he slipped.
It was similar to that Man U striker, Hernandez. He used to make those runs all the time, just on the shoulder, then just drop in. Yeah, and he was away.
He kind of
tried it, and he would have been one-on-one.
He was one-on-one. He was one-on-one. He looked really hungry. Technically, what he wanted the ball, hungry. Really desire. He looked great.
That's exactly how I would have described his performance. He wanted to win every single ball. He wanted to smash every ball as hard as he could. Obviously, the goal that will come on to his desire to get.
But he gets a chance before that. He volleys it. That volley.
Oh, Christ,
lovely
what a-
strike.
yeah,
lovely
yeah.
strike.
Absolutely
Yeah, it was.
smashes that.
Who crossed that ball? Was that Murphy? No, someone who I don't know who was
Can't
that.
remember.
But
I think
anyway,
it was Murphy.
was it? It was a lovely ball over, and as you see, to connect the way he did, it was a hell of a shot. Yeah, on it, what an impact he had within the first, even just 10 minutes of the second half. So much went through him. He was great, really, really good. And I felt so sorry for him on the goal. Which does that bring to this moment?
Yeah. Let's go through the goal, Digger.
Well,
It's not a great cross in.
We have to really talk about Isak here on this goal, on this moment.
He was dead lazy, wasn't he? Sitting down.
I can't. How did it actually? How was he on? Did he have a cross that got deflected? How did
he'd gone into the box, and it was like because they played that little that move that would like to do normally between Bruno, Trippier, and Almiron. Those little triangles into the box with Longstaff made the run through, came through. Isak was there, and then I don't know whether he slipped or he got tackled or it was a block or something like that. And then the ball comes back out, and then it goes wide, and then obviously I don't know. I don't even know how he does it.
That was Tino
how
again.
he's on
I've
the,
said it a few
on the
times.
floor like that. Like
So he's lying on the deck, then the ball comes to him. I've never seen anybody move so fast. So he jumps up, then he just does this spin.
Oh,
it's like breakdancing.
He just
because he's on the floor and he like spins himself round on the floor, but like does a step over.
It's like
the
a
ball
spin
and
and
then
a drop of a shoulder.
It's
and the space that he creates for himself.
Well, he rolls it that way, then comes
Mm-hmm.
back that way, and on it was so like Tino Asprilla for me. The way he moved like that, it was just beautiful. And then pick out the cross. Obviously, maybe he's just trying to get it over there.
He just lifts it.
He just lifts it. Yeah,
He just lifts it.
And this is where you credit Anderson so much in that there's no power on the delivery of that cross. There's no power there. It's just I'm getting it in there. And to him to generate that power was incredible. He really fought that defender off as well.
It's where he puts it as well.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was a hell
That's
of a
probably the only place where the keeper's not gonna to get it.
Yeah. Aye.
And he didn't, and it hit the back of the net. And the celebrations which followed, if you look at the videos, I think it's Thomas Nipper that puts it from the club where he's at the front boards and he gets absolutely crushed at the front of it, and he's trying his hardest to protect his camera. That's gone. But the scenes afterwards, and when it went to VAR, okay, I thought, oh God, here we go again. Then the more kept on showing the passage of play, I thought, oh, that's fine. The ref will go over there, then it'll get given. When the ref then decided that, and this is whilst the commentators are still going to us, oh, it'll stand, like blah blah blah, and tell them why it should stand. The referee then goes and says that he's disallowed the goal. Is that one of the worst decisions you've ever seen?
It's when he sends him over to the monitor, I'm like, what is he looking at? Because we can all see the passage of play, and yes, Longstaff standing in an offside position where he is because of the through ball of him making the run for it, and then he stayed there. But for the way that it transpires out, obviously it comes across, their defender hooks the ball clear. It falls to the next Forest defender, who then hooks it and plays it against Longstaff. That's when the ball then comes back out to Isak to do that little bit of skill. It beggars belief that they can watch that and think. I mean, obviously they've came out. There's been an explanation as to why they believe it's been ruled out, because of the looking at the rules and stuff like that. But there's not a single person out there that I've seen in the press, on the TV, any pundits or anything like that that has said that goal should be disallowed, because it and I was absolutely livid about it. Like even after the game, like when we'd won it and stuff, I just couldn't get the ref's performance and that decision out of my mind. It kind of overshadowed the result for me, and it beggars belief that he can think that the first touch from the Forest defender isn't intentional, because he absolutely is playing that ball, trying to hook it clear. All right, it doesn't go, away down the pitch or out to touch, but he's intentionally playing, swinging at that ball, because there's a player behind him, and if he doesn't cut that ball out, it's tap in. So he's swinging at that ball to get it away, and that is the action that they have deemed is what then makes Longstaff offside. So
you've got the rules on your phone, Mark. So let's go through them. Okay, so Gary Neville touched, I think it was Gary Neville touched on this after the game, where he breaks this down in set parts and bullet points as the rule stands. So let's go through them, Mark.
So they're looking at the law 11, which is offside, and the title of it is deliberate play is when a player has control of the ball with the possibility of passing the ball to a teammate or gaining possession of the ball or clearing the ball.
Okay. So the one which we're looking at there is clearing the ball.
Clearing
He's
the
not
ball.
trying to pass it.
No, he's not trying to pass it. He's not trying to control the ball.
He's trying to get
take
rid.
it away. He's absolutely trying to clear the ball either by kicking or heading it away.
Okay.
And in this instance, he's trying to kick the ball and clear it away. That's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He clears the ball away. The next criteria that is then applied to it is the following criteria should be
So hang on.
used.
The next criteria is if you can't really figure out by the first criteria if you try to do
It's
that.
whether he's deliberately played the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So the following criteria should be used as appropriate as indicators that a player was in control of the ball and as a result deliberately played the ball. So the ball travelled from distance and the player had a clear view of it.
You had a clear view.
Had a clear view of it. It comes from Isak from one side of the pitch over. The ball was not moving quickly. It wasn't at all because he just lifted it.
Mm-hmm.
The direction of the ball was not unexpected. It was a ball into the box.
Yeah. We knew that was going towards goal, so that one cancels out.
The player had time to coordinate their body movement, i.e. it was not a case of instinctive stretching or jumping or movement.
No, he just his body to clear it.
He's taking a swing at that, looking to clear it. Now, I can only think that they're looking at that because he has stretched his leg out to obviously reach the ball and to make connection with it. So the slimmest thing that they can look at there is it stretching to reach the ball rather than him doing an instinctive clearance.
And so unless I think I might get this totally wrong, but are them then saying because he's had to stretch for the ball because Longstaff's standing there?
Yeah, is that so? Because he's had to stretch for the ball to clear it, he hasn't been in control of where he's played that ball.
So they're looking at the
it's the first one
on
from
the 6-yard box.
From the edge of the 6-yard box. He's kicked it
Right.
once
Got you.
before it then goes to the next Forest defender.
Okay.
So there's your first one for a start. So if they're looking at that and thinking, right, well, he's stretched, then I can give them that. You know, it's very, very harsh, but I can see a stretch. A very
That's got nothing to do with Longstaff, though.
No, but then it comes to the next Forest defender.
Yeah.
The ball comes over, who
swipes
hooks
at
it, swipes at it, and hooks it against Longstaff's legs, which then makes it fall to Isak.
Aye.
So 2 Forest players have touched that ball in the period where Longstaff has been deemed to have been in an offside position. And you cannot tell me that those 2 defenders haven't meant to strike those balls and try to clear them away and put it out of touch.
So I'll ask you the question, which me and Decker had a discussion and debate about on a previous video. Should referees be mic'd up mid-game to not necessarily explain to us, but so we can hear what their discussions are with VAR? So no discussion between the referee, VAR directed to managers, fans, commentary, pundits, anything like that. We just need to hear that conversation. Because they're having a conversation. Why can that not be aired?
The reason it can't be aired is because it makes them accountable.
Makes them look fucking stupid.
And that is 100% the reason why they don't want to do it. Because as things stand, they can hide behind a decision that's been made. Should they be made to wear mics? Absolutely.
Well, the way mics anyway.
It makes it clear. It makes it open. You're not hiding anything. They can then, because a lot of the issues that you get with decisions is you don't know why decisions have been.
We still don't know why now.
Well, that's it, and you can guarantee that the PG MOL will come out in a few weeks and they'll have looked at it and gone, hands up, sorry, we've made a mistake, which we've seen time and time again. But
I think that's the key thing as well. Time again.
And look, it's not just us. You look at this. There's been games all across this weekend where I can think of 5 or 6 other situations where VAR is either not intervened when they should have and given a decision, or they've ignored something, or not gone with the decision on the field and stuff like that.
Can you remember when Salah scored against Wolves?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and it got given.
Yeah.
And he was miles offside.
He was miles offside. And the defender is only played that ball. He would have never played that ball if it wasn't for Salah.
Yeah.
Clearly he had to thought, shit, Salah's in.
Cut it out.
He tried and well, now the rest of it. how again, it's when you see the same law being applied to multiple situations.
Yeah.
And every single result's different. That's so frustrating.
And
so frustrating.
do you know what it is? I understand mistakes happen. Everybody make mistakes, right? But how can the referee make a mistake when the rules are clearly in front of you? How can that mistake be made?
Well, I think that's the problem, is that
he doesn't know the rule.
The VAR person is looking at that rule and looking at the rule book and saying, I don't think that's a deliberate play of the ball.
But it's more than one. It's more than one person.
That's where it's
well, you've ultimately got one person in that room that makes that decision who's in contact with the referee.
But you have multiple views of something, and a lot of time as well. A lot of time. I would definitely forgive a mistake. So it's still hard to do, but I can forgive mistakes when it's happening in real time sometimes. I think, it's being quick and whatever, he's blinded or whatever. But to actually physically sit and watch it a few times and have time to come up, sit and read the fucking rules and have time, to actually make a decision and then still get it wrong. That's where I really struggle there. Like, I really struggle.
I can understand the rule when it's like if Longstaff's standing in that position where he is, and a shot comes in and it just hits the defender, and then falls to Longstaff. I can understand then it being applied.
Yeah. Everybody would,
because it has just came off and he hasn't gone towards the ball or tried to make a block on it. But that player, he's 100% intentionally played that ball. The ball's going across. He's thought, I need to get rid of this. He swung his boot at it, and it's gone towards Longstaff. I'll never ever be convinced that goal should not have stood.
And we haven't even touched on the fact that VAR is brought in for clear and obvious errors. That's not one to start with.
But that's the whole problem, is because the VAR operative believes that the referee has made a mistake, and by the rules of the game, the way he's interpreting them, and thinking that defender hasn't meant to have cleared the ball in that way. He thinks the referee's made a mistake.
He must be a Forest fan then.
So while we're talking about, and Scott mentions it here, and I'll just expand on it a little bit. Okay, so no matter what opinion a player or a manager will have on a referee's factually poor performance or poor decision, okay, they will get fined if they come out and say they made a mistake. It was a shocking mistake to make. They'll get fined, even though they're right. Does that need to change as well? If a referee makes a mistake, should a manager or player be penalised because of being called out?
No, absolutely not. No. I'm never a believer in that. In that they get fined in that, like, or get warnings and stuff like that. Especially when it is. Well, listen, if you went personal and you were actually physically attacking someone about it, but to come out and say that is a disgraceful decision, it's cost my team, it's cost whatever. What's the problem with that? It's just facts. You're just speaking facts. You're speaking the truth. Whereas, like, you could. I don't know. It's like someone questioning your performance as manager, isn't it? You've lost 7 in a row. Well, I'm not happy with that. Warn him. I want him fined for asking that question.
Like Ashley used to do that with the Chronicle.
Well, true. It's just facts, right? Like, you obviously, and again as well, you have to remember that your manager and stuff, there's a highly pressurizing job. Like the pressure they're under from fans and all the rest of it, and you've trained all week and tried to work out the result to beat this team, and then something like that happened. Let's say we didn't win that game. I would have every single right to go in there and just let loose, just go for it. But you're right in what you say, you get fined. And that's when I get really pissed off, where you're like, that's not on.
And that's where it comes back to there's absolutely zero accountability on the referees and linesmen.
Because they don't, we'll watch this on the other video, but they don't have to speak about it.
No.
So they can make the worst decision you've ever seen. Like Boris Johnson style mistakes here they could make. They don't have to speak about it.
So if they're not going to be mic'd up and be able to hear what those conversations are, which would just add a lot of clarity to the decisions that are being made and understanding of what's happening. We've seen it was the.
But Mark, I'm not asking for those to explain the decisions live during the game. I just want to hear their conversations between themselves and VR as to why they've made that.
But that would explain the decision.
To us, it would,
because you're basically getting the referee saying, "Well, I don't think that's a foul," or "I think he's played the ball," and then the VR whatever given there, and they're having a discussion backwards and forwards.
I would be interested
trying to understand why one thing's
one. I wonder what
question
was asked from VAR. So when VAR goes to the earpiece of the referee, what have they said at that point? Have they said, "We believe Sean Longstaff's in offside position"?
Yeah.
So the referee goes and checks that.
Checking for goal. The
referee goes and checks that and looks at that position and go, "Oh yeah, he is offside."
Yeah.
But then you need to go. we need you to decide if this player tries to play the ball. And I don't understand how you can go, oh, no, he hasn't.
Well, I think what I'd be interested to hear is, because I think, like, it depends on what you'd be hearing, but I would be very interested to know how many times a ref comes over to the monitor and kind of sticks up for his own opinion, or does he just go
once that I can think of? Once that I can think of.
Right. Okay.
Once this season where a referee's gone to VR, went, nah, I'm sticking with what I've decided.
Was that Trippier's by any chance?
No, it wasn't that game.
No, because he got that rescinded, didn't he?
No, the one where
he got sent off and then he brought him back on, didn't he?
Oh, sorry, yeah. So, because I just wonder sometimes if he goes over this, for example, like,
I want to say Arsenal. I'm thinking it might be an Arsenal. Somebody else mentioned the comment.
Wasn't that Michael Oliver?
I can't remember. It wasn't us. We weren't involved in it.
Well, that's why imagine that decision. The same thing happens, right? That to me, that referee, if VAR saying to him, we think X, Y, Z, and that goal shouldn't stand, I would think the referee's worth any salt would go, well, hang on a second, I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Challenge that. I wonder if he would have challenged, or he just went, hey, all right, guys, you've got it right. Because that ref was terrible, by the way. From
well, ultimately, the VAR has to persuade.
Apparently, it's happened this weekend.
You as the referee to
Wolves v Leeds, where the referee stuck with his decision.
Oh, fair crack.
Didn't see that one.
So that'll be twice this season.
That's a bad.
That's VAR ultimately changing the referee's decision.
Does the linesman not get involved? Because the linesman is on that side of that field at that moment. That linesman's on the field. And they want to talk to him.
I don't think so.
Well, they're connected.
Also,
so
yeah. So I wonder if he's seen anything
because he would have. Because when you do see it, like, because they do occasionally release like clips and stuff like that. Obviously, the Australian ref that came over, that's in the Premier League now. Yeah. His last game was all recorded and shown. Every time that there's a goal score, like the referee will ask the linesman any infringements, any offsides, and they'll say no, all clear from me or whatever, and talk through all good, and then that's when obviously VR will then get involved. But the fact that in Dermot Gallagher even said the same on the Sky Sports this morning on the Ref Watch thing was that the Forest players all picked up the ball, went to the centre circle, put the ball down on the spot, and were ready to go. That massively shows you that there was no argument that he was offside because two of their players have swung at that ball and the ball's fell to his feet. Yeah. They've played him onside. 100%.
We'll move on. If you don't want to hear more about this, then like I said, I have done a video that should be out tomorrow morning for members. First of all,
I got all angry about it again.
Well, let's make you happy and let's talk about the winner. Right? Let's talk about the winner. How stupid is their defender by sticking your arms up in that moment of the game?
It's just madness.
Brain dead, that.
Yeah, it's madness. And you know what it is as well? It's funny. I mentioned this to me after the game. Everyone was so complimentary of her. You know, Eddie Howe, Gary Level. Sorry, apologise. Everyone was like saying how great we are, how amazing his performance is, how amazing that is. Hey, that game could have been 1-1, right? And I'm not
thanks to the referee.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure these conversations would have been as rosy as what they were after that game, and everyone was loving life and everything was amazing. It took an absolute brain dead defender to do what he did. Because I mean, what is he thinking there? What is he thinking there? I mean, they were hanging on, like, don't coast away. But to just stick your arm in the air like that, it's just daft. It's just.
Well, that's where, like, when you said earlier, I just felt like it was going to be another one of those nights up at that point because we were chucking absolutely everything at them, everything. Yeah. And we just couldn't get that.
And scored a legitimate goal.
Of course,
it was a legitimate goal.
And that's why you think, God, it's nothing's going to go right for us because you just felt that the amount of chances we were creating, having that goal choked off, that God, here we go again. And it wouldn't surprise you if they bloody had another break and went down the other end and scored a winner after that.
I think in the second half, Pope made one save with his feet when Dennis was in. I think it was Dennis again, where we're pushing up so high, we got caught. That can happen, it's fine. But Pope did well on that moment, but that was about it. But we were, of course, the better side. We scored a legitimate goal. And again, another thing I want to reference as well is that, some teams would have had that goal choked off and maybe felt a bit, sorry, not crumbled, but maybe just huffed and puffed towards the end. But we just kept going and going and going. And I thought as the game, Isak seemed to be getting more stronger, more faster, more chasing more people down.
Is he now Eddie Howe fit?
I don't know, because he looked knackered.
He will.
Even for the disallowed goal, he looked like he ran himself into the ground and would just have a little rest.
He works incredibly hard. Like, do you know what it is as well? And I think this is where you've got to be. Do you know what? Like, people obviously will be judging it against Wilson. Wilson's not going to do that. Wilson can't do that, right? And to be quite honest, there's not many players can. There's not many players I think that are as technically good as he is, but can run as much as he can. He's just full pelt all the time.
The strides as well.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
Them giraffe legs of his.
Absolute strides everywhere.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, 2 points on the penalty itself. Okay. So first of all is Kieran Trippier. I know it's been people have chatted about it.
It was
a lot.
brilliant, wasn't it?
I can't remember this ever happening again. Watching a football, it probably has, but I can't remember it. Where he's very clever. So obviously Trippier picks the ball up, and Sky Sports must have scrambled at this point and went, "Shit, have we got any stats on Kieran Trippier taking penalties?" They put the graphic up. One he's missed, one he's scored. God knows how he scored the one that hit the crossbar.
It was mad, that wasn't it? He's missed both according to the graphic.
The outside of the crossbar. God knows that's gone in. Now,
funny,
if anybody has that clip of the penalty which he scored, send it our way because I'm really intrigued as to how that hits the back of the net.
Did he not take one in? I want to say the cup.
But those don't class as those graphics.
I know.
They don't count.
That's the only time I can think of a penalty.
He picks the ball up because you know what's going to come. You know that the keeper's going to come out, the players are going to come out and start trying to put you off. The keeper comes out. The keeper gets a yellow card. Kieran Trippier's just smiling his little tits off. And then he just goes and hands the ball to Isak. Then at that point, you know for fine well that the goalkeeper's not going to come off his line because he's off.
Yeah.
Well, did you? I don't know if you've seen it, but like obviously the club have released their behind the scenes kind of stuff, and there's the focus on this quite a bit, and obviously the referees there with the keeper, and the keeper's arguing and stuff like that, and going, and he yellow cards him and sends him back away. That's when he goes. But then, actually, in that clip, he still keeps coming. The referee tells him a couple of times, get on your line. And then he goes to his pocket as if to say, I'm going to book you again.
Yeah.
And so, and then he goes, and then he still tells him another 2 times. And the last point is like, get on your line. He's like literally shouting at him and going towards him.
I think even
tell him on. So he's like,
if someone
give him a lot of chances.
Yeah. If someone booked me, you've still got a canny bit of rope left. Like, I mean, it's not going to send you off straight away. I don't think they are. Like, and that point proves it. There's no way that if he comes back
for
again,
Fulham.
Well, yeah, maybe. But I think the rest. Sorry, apologize. The goalkeeper thought, okay, you've booked this, but I still have another couple of days.
I think once Isak gets that ball and puts on the pen spot, if the keeper comes off, he's got no chance of staying on the field at that point.
Absolutely right. Yeah, and
none.
It's I mean, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? It really is. You know, the more I've watched it and the more I've thought about it. Because I thought it was amazing at the time, but obviously you're still in the motion of wanting to score and stuff. And I think it's after the game when I've looked back at it more of just how amazing
it's Trippier's smile
was.
When he's just standing smiling at him.
Yeah,
it's just so funny.
Obviously, Howe got interviewed after, and they asked him like about that. They said, "Wow, was that something you've learned?" He went, "I had no idea about that," and he said, "Even I didn't know what the hell was going on, to be honest." But again, that's leadership and character on the pitch, and it's 100%. Unbelievable. And Isak would have been tremendous. It's honestly, it's unbelievable. And like, you know, Isak would have been having a tab on the side there, just getting himself ready, no problems. You know,
like how much pressure he would have felt in that moment. He probably doesn't even feel pressure, to be fair.
Doesn't look like he does.
He's cool as out, isn't he?
I was breaking it.
Yeah.
First of all, because I thought Kieran Trippier was going to take it, and I saw that graphic. That's the first reason I was breaking it. Then obviously just the moment in the game.
Did you want Trippier to take it?
Nah.
No, because I
definitely
didn't.
not.
And I know everyone.
I saw the graphic.
Well, no, but everyone, he takes absolutely everything all of the time. And I was thinking, how do you want to take it? Like,
I was quite surprised that
hit the first man.
I was quite surprised that he hasn't taken more penalties. But obviously for us,
there must be a reason why, though.
No, I just think it's because he's not the first.
He's taken two. He's taken 2 in his career.
Penalty,
There must be a reason why he's not taking them.
But put that ball
you're going to knock that
20, 25 yards outside, like from goal.
Yeah,
you're 100% giving the ball to him every time, aren't you?
He might just not want to take them.
It's like
I get
it makes no sense. Put it on that spot. He's going to put that. If anybody's going to put it in the top corner, it's going to be him, isn't it?
Well, you like to think so, but no, but it was absolutely tremendous. It really, really was. And Isak's penalty, obviously.
I think it must have started before we actually really saw what was going on, because then you saw in Isak's reaction once he scores, he starts shushing the goalkeeper. So I think the goalkeeper's been straight at him, giving him a load of verbals before Trippier's then came over and said, just like, go and get yourself away. I'll take this pressure, because he's then focused on Trippier and doing all of that.
Experience, that's all, isn't it?
Very, very clever.
Trips is, to be fair, he's played for his country for God knows how long. He's probably taken God knows how many penalties.
Atletico Madrid stuff, probably. You know, I mean, it's very clever, especially in the moment when the tension. You know, pressure's on. You know, what's the adrenaline would have been pumping. To have that cool head to go, don't worry, this is what we're going to do. It is absolutely amazing. And the other thing as well is that not necessarily in this moment, but the goalkeeper's probably thinking, right, it's Trippier. I know he's arguing and stuff, but in his head he'd be thinking, where does Trippier maybe go?
Well, if you notice, there's I think it's already, I don't know. There's one of their players is behind Trippier to the keeper going. He's going that way. He's going that way.
Yeah. So again, it's all this psyche.
So it's like there, yeah.
And then once he gives him, he say, "Fuck, well, where's he gonna go?" You know, it's too late by then because you haven't had time to digest it, type of thing. You know?
I know Trippier fooled the players on the field, but did he fool you as well?
Oh, I thought he was taking it. I 100% thought he was taking it.
No doubt about it. He was taking it. Yeah, I just kept saying, "Christ, they're making him wait a long time." That's all I kept saying. You know,
at that point, when I thought, "Oh, Trippier's taking this," my brain started going through the rest of the team. I thought, "Oh, Matt Ritchie's on the field at this point." I thought he could take it because Matt Ritchie knows how to take a penalty.
It just didn't even cross my mind that.
Well, Isak did.
Why is he taking that penalty or anything? I just thought, he's standing there. He's ready.
He's actually got a penalty for it
against Bournemouth. Yeah. They told him it was. So yeah, he's obviously took one. But at the time when Trippier got it, I think the reason why it didn't come as a surprise is every single time we get a dead ball, it's him. No matter where it is on the field, he takes it. So when it was the penalty, I was like, it's like it'll be him. But from the hand it off, it was unbelievable.
Obviously, like penalties for England and stuff like that, he's taken all of those. So it's in my mind, it seems normal.
Yeah, it did to me.
That Kieran Trippier would be taking a penalty.
The only other circumstance that would have happened is if the players bottle it. You know what I mean, in terms of last minute giving it to someone. You know what I mean? That's the only other way I've ever seen it happen, but not in that way of I'll take all the grief while you chill out and then we'll swap last second. I've never seen that happen.
Brilliant.
Let's flip it around. This can't happen again, though, can it? Because if Trippier picks that ball up, unless Trippier then goes and takes it himself or hands it to somebody else if Isak isn't on the field, it's.
Do you know what it is? It depends on where Isak is, isn't it? You imagine it happens again. You're right in what you're saying. Trippier's got the ball, and everyone has, but Isak can't take.
Keeper just goes finds Isak.
Exactly. If Isak's miles away, like can he far away? They're not just going to go and crowd. They're just not, are they? Well, I wouldn't think so.
It depends on the keeper.
Then just let Trippier take it if that's the case.
It depends on the keeper a lot of the times, doesn't it? Because you don't always get keepers getting involved and trying to face up.
I think it's coming more and more in the game. I think it really is. It's not just. It wasn't just the goalkeeper as well. There was a lot of players in and amongst that, and ironically, it was for an absolute. I mean, Christ, the defender that Ado handballed had his head in his hands before the ball had even gone out to play him.
He knew straight away.
And they were still, having a go. But you're right. Will we see it again? I'm not so sure, but it didn't halfway. Interestingly, if we had missed though, I wonder what people would have thought. Trippier should have took in the first place. Why did he pass it off? That's football, isn't it? It's very fine margins, but
it was never missed. That was a great penalty.
It was brilliant. It was
just let Keeper go first.
So cool, isn't he? So cool. Like, he really, really. Another thing as well. I better not say that. No, it was a Prince. He doesn't sweat though, does he?
we know
now. He doesn't sweat, does he? Like allegedly. He was sprinting all over the pitch, and every time the camera on, it was as if he had just come on the pitch.
He's got ice running through his veins.
Unbelievable.
Right, let's go through the questions.
A Prince someone wouldn't.
Right, so we'll go to the question which we're going to highlight. Which we're going to answer earlier on, Mark. Like the video. If you're watching, we're going to go for another 10 minutes. So just like the video, help us out a little bit. So this one is from El Grande Salmon. Anyone know why Graham Jones was so lit up on the sideline? So yeah, there was a bit of a.
Well, I think he knows the answer.
Was it? I don't want to say it was an argument, but there was clearly some sort of disagreement.
How dare he speak to Eddie Howe like that, by the way, first of all. But yeah, Mark, take the show.
Did you know why?
Of course he does.
Why do you think?
Well, it's not what you think. I don't think anyway.
What do you think?
I'm not sure. But I don't think it was about Maxi though. But I know you do.
Let us know in the comments what you think it is as well.
Oh, of course. So now it's coming here.
A discussion about Isak. Sorry, about Maxi. And if you do, why?
No, I've seen that argument a lot today, though.
Is it because it's Maxi?
Because apparently just before that clip, there was something where they were talking about Maxi.
How do we know they're talking about Maxi?
Because you can see him talking about that, and then it's the next. Maxi that's like the next phase of play after something else goes on. But there is obviously a bit of a disagreement between on the touchline around something that's gone on the pitch, and it's difficult to know. Obviously, you're just looking at what's happened just in and around it, and that's why people are pointing the finger towards that. He was unhappy with something that Mr. Allen had done.
Well, there's two things. The two things which I've seen today. I haven't really been on social media this weekend, but one of them was the Maxi thing, saying having a disagreement about Maxi and how he's playing. But then the other one was saying something to do with Callum Wilson. Like, why is Callum Wilson warming up? So, has Eddie Howe said to Wilson, go more, you're going on? Then obviously changed his mind.
It did look like Wilson was going to come on.
Like,
he was talking to Wilson for a long time, wasn't he? At the point and whatever.
So I thought we were going to go 2 up top at this point.
I did as well, actually.
Well, I think that was because of the back of, obviously, now that we know once half time came, was the injury.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I don't think it was that. I don't know. I mean, it could have been. At first, I thought it was about the challenges, because they might just made a bad challenge again just previous. I think it was Murphy maybe that had the shot that went wide. I'm not exactly sure, but I thought it was maybe Jones was referencing like how many times they're just flying into challenges or whatever it was, and how it was very much like, yeah, no, I'm not stupid, like fuck off, basically, move away. But yeah, of course, I mean, I knew before I even went on that was going to be about. He could have been sitting in the house and probably would have still been talking.
I think El Grande Salmon might have actually got this answer forward.
Okay, then let's go.
He says maybe Eddie had suggested that Die Hard was a Christmas movie.
Well, he would be absolutely right if that was the case.
I love how it always goes back to Die Hard. Always.
It's just funny how people
love it, how it's the MDL's say in full force tonight, isn't it?
I think I've criticised him quite a lot tonight, to be fair.
But you kind of still help yourself by trying
because
to save him.
It's just mad, though, isn't it? How immediately, like, I knew, you know what it is? I knew in my head the second I seen that on the telly, I says, I guarantee you Twitter now saying that's about. I just knew. I don't know why people get so bothered.
In the phase of play, in and around it, it focused on what?
Not the person who missed an out like that, no. Just him. I just never. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just. I just find it crazy.
Because you've got rose tinted glasses.
No, it's not. It's not at all. I said he played. Yeah, I've actually said he played poor the day. There's no way you would have scored the goal Isak scored. There's no way on this earth you would have scored what Anderson scored.
But you're still defending him.
Well, I will in this moment. Yeah, I'll defend a lot of players. I defended fucking Botman. He fucking passed it to their player.
To be fair, you're not even just defending Maxi at this point. You're just saying, I've got no idea what they're talking about. Why are people saying that that's the reason?
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's just mad. It's just mad. Really is.
The chairman has spoken.
Right. Next question. Let's have a look.
Like,
sorry. Mike Focus also said Graham Jones was asking where the F the goalie kid video is. The amount of comments that we've had this week about the goalkeeper kid video. Yeah. We're gonna have to pull our fingers out and do it.
It needs to be done.
We'll try and arrange a date. Okay.
Well, so not like we've got any football to look forward to this weekend, is it?
Oh mate, there's always content. Always content around the corner. Next, sorry, I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
I just remember when I went on Twitter at the end of the game. Not loads, but quite a few people were saying like, "Wow, that was like amazing tactics by how to do this with the ball, Trippier at the end." Loads of people saying it. How great that would never do that in another previous margin. Blah blah. Really clever. And then that interview, how he's like, I had no idea what was going on.
Trips.
I had no idea what was going on. All I'm saying is it's very quick to judge something. Christ Almighty, you've seen a snippet. Couldn't hear anything at all, by the way. But that's Max. They're talking about Maxi there. I just find it mad.
Next
defending him again.
Question is
even if something not to do with Maxi, he still defends Maxi.
It was to do with Maxi.
He was talking about Trippier and the tactics.
No,
and then he turns around to Maxi.
Well, I'm trying to. No, I did, but I'm trying to use it. I'm trying to use it as
trying to defend Maxi.
Listen, will you just be quiet for a second? I'm trying to use it as how people jump on something so fast. Like they see something happen, they go, "Well, that's definitely because of that reason." There's fucking no way.
To be fair, that wouldn't have happened under another manager.
What wouldn't have happened?
Trippier with the penalty.
I've got. Is there a joke?
Is there a joke
or
something? Or?
No, I'm just saying it wouldn't have happened.
He was setting himself up for a joke there.
You try to say how soft and hasn't been hard on his players to say he should have the ball? Is
no, just because Trippier wouldn't have been there to be able to do it.
Oh, right. Okay. I think he was hiding something there. But okay. Next question is from
no idea with that one. I'm sorry.
Say, does Pope need to stop coming out as much given recent errors? Would he gain more confidence if he stayed on his line a bit more?
Absolutely not.
Just keep on doing it, Nick.
You've got to listen. Before the Liverpool debacle, right? I definitely said this. There was 3 times in the game previous to that one where if it wasn't for him, then we're in. And he came out and headed it out. Obviously, he wasn't playing with his feet necessarily, but he was sharp off his line. And there was balls over the top, because this is the arguments when we started saying Burn, the target and Burn over the top. And it was Pope that was running out and heading. And I remember saying, God, he reads the game really, really well. All right. He made a clanger against Liverpool. And yes, of course, you go back to the Wolves game, you could say it was a penalty. Maybe it wasn't. You can't change. I don't think you should change just because you've made a few mistakes here and there.
No, you got to keep
You imagine someone misses a couple of penalties, or I don't know, like has a few bad passes, or will never try that pass again.
Yeah,
you just got to keep doing it. You just got to keep playing. Like Botman, is he never going to pass back again?
Exactly.
Never pass back to your goalkeeper, mate. You got caught last time.
He'll make sure he looks next time.
Nah, maybe sometimes he will.
You've got to learn from the mistakes.
But you can't just change your ways because of a mistake.
Nah, having it, we wouldn't be able to play in the way that we do if you didn't have Pope almost being a sweeper, because he allows the team to push much higher up the pitch, be able to keep that possession in that final third. Because then if they do hit that long ball out the top, because that's their out. We done it for 2 or 3 seasons under Bruce, under Rafa. Just get the ball away and get somebody with a bit of pace. 9 times out of 10, it was that crap Frenchman. Get it out there. Whereas with you having that keeper that's just a little bit advanced, you can then get out and get it clear. And yes, he's made a mistake, but
exactly
keepers do.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Listen, I've said from day one, I do think he's a bit wooden on the ball. He's clearly to see he's not.
It's obvious.
Yeah, but
he's a lot better than he was when you go back to. Obviously, Burnley, you'd never had to play with his feet, other than just lumping it.
You have to remember, he is getting. He's 31, isn't he? So his whole career, he's never been asked to play like that. So it is difficult for someone just to go all of a sudden. I need to be a sweeper keeper now. You know what I mean? And yes, it's probably one of his not one of his strongest areas, of course. But for me, you keep going. Don't get us wrong. If he's doing a Liverpool debacle every single week, well, maybe there's time to change here. But hey, it's one mistake in how many games he's played. I can't even tell you, but a lot.
So Scott, our very own Gallowgateshots, Scott says. Gallowgateshots says, do you think Pope pulling out of the England squad is more him wanting to rest over having an actual injury? So similar to the Fabian Shaw thing.
Yeah, I think there'll be a niggle there. There'll be something.
They've got evidence, haven't they?
He ain't going to play.
I think you've got to send some sort of report. Yeah,
you've got to send some.
He's not going to play. He's not going to. At most, he'll sit on the bench. So you might as well get and enjoy a bit of sunshine and out in Dubai. And
it would be surprised if we weren't going to Dubai. I wouldn't have.
I think he'd have gone. Yeah, I think you'd have gone.
Yeah, I think you might have went as well. But he's saying, "Lads, I got to Dubai." Yeah,
I know.
Fuck this, gone. Maybe.
Fab's he coming?
Aye, maybe. But
the share one's probably more because he's been getting battered around the ankles for weeks now, hasn't he? He missed his game 2 weeks ago. So he's been on the walls. So I think it's good that he's missing the game.
I agree with that one. Yeah.
Do you know what it is? I'm really selfish when it comes to club football. I want my players staying at home.
Well, yeah. I mean,
unless it's the World Cup or the Euros.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think tournament is different.
You would hate for him to go away and break an arm or something like that. Something really bad. Because, and in fairness, we've had the same thoughts because we've wanted to stay in the division. You imagine we're going into this end of the season at the 4th bottom, and that we're like, God, we need every player we can get. But this season,
push.
Got a chance of top 4 still right there, right in it.
We haven't.
We're not, and we've got games in hand, and we've got Tottenham's Conte's gone absolutely ballistic. It's you know what I mean.
Do you know what it is? I just want to go back to the first mini video which we did this season was, can Newcastle become title contenders? That was the question, and it was used to debated and saying if we get injuries, and then that's where we're going to start dropping down the league. We have had injuries, we've had suspensions, we've had deft errors. We're still there.
We've been hanging on by with teeth though.
I don't
at times.
Draws. I'm very surprised, man.
That's when we were still there. Draws and we're still there.
That's what surprised me, that we went on that game. Sorry, was it 1 in 9 or 1 in 8? But to still be in 5th. You've maybe weathered your bad storm, but haven't really moved anywhere. All right, you've moved up the top 4, but if you think you're on the top end of the table here, to the top end, sorry, and you haven't won in 9 games, you could possibly think you might find yourself in 7th or 8th even. But we haven't really moved anywhere. And that's because I still say Tottenham aren't very good either.
But a game in hand.
2 games in hand.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it's honest to God, we're really we've got a great opportunity, a really good chance.
It's like this.
I still think the Almiron injury is
absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
when you look at the results, when And you look at the league table, and anywhere from like 12th to 20th, you're getting relegated.
I definitely think
It's
that
mental.
It feels class not to be involved in that, though.
Oh, I would hate
Well,
it.
can you imagine you're sitting 12th, 13th in the league thinking,
In March.
like any other season, you're like,
left,
you're probably safe by now.
Yeah, I know.
It's mad.
The competitiveness
Absolutely
of the
mad.
league, you know, is definitely getting better. It's getting a lot of because the odd freak result that used to happen in seasons, they feel like they're happening a lot more now.
Yeah.
They just feel like they're happening a lot more.
So Gray mentions that it looks like Spurs are going to sack Conte this week. I think as we've been recording, there's been a few things mentioned in the chat about Conte going from Spurs.
I think he's going at the end of the season anyway, wasn't
it? It was a brilliant press conference.
He went wild, didn't he?
He went berserk. He said a lot of truth, to be honest, and I think a lot of Spurs fans probably agree with him.
Yeah,
probably agree with him.
Well, he's missed about a month or so anyway because he was out with his illness, wasn't he?
That's Poch going back?
It would
Could do, couldn't it?
I know they say his manager shouldn't go back, but it would be a hell of an appointment.
Levy's would have to lick a lot of hoop there, though, wouldn't he? To mend those bridges.
Right.
I don't want him to get sacked. That's the problem, you know. That's the problem because I feel as if Poch went in there, he might really galvanise them to get over the line for fourth. But it is what it is.
Similar to what Emery's done at Villa. Villa picking up some decent results as well over.
At the minute they are, he's actually done quite average there, really.
Compared to the slum that they were on.
I would say that what Ten Hag's done at Man United.
Yeah.
You think they got beat off Brentford 4-0 and you think they're laughing stock and poof. I mean, Christ almighty, what run them have been on. We'll put that in next week.
Final question.
We've got a tough few games coming up.
We have.
We've got what was it? 2. One home game in the next 6.
2. You've got Man U and Spurs. Spurs at home.
That must be like the very last one, then, is it?
Right. Final question.
What a game that'll be.
It is from NUFC UK. He says, "Does Big Joe come straight back into the team after the international break?"
That's a tough decision, isn't it?
The only way Joe is getting into that team is if he goes out left, replaces Maxi.
Possibly.
I think. Well, how long's Gordon out for? Do we know?
3 weeks.
It's a shame he's injured already. Like, isn't it? That is a shame. Like
that's all.
It could be anything from 24 hours to a year.
Let's go through it. He's not going to replace Longstaff because I think fans are probably starting to appreciate Longstaff more. What he actually does. He's not replacing Bruno, and he's not replacing Willock with those last 2 performances. And I love Joe Linton. The only way he's getting back in that team for the next match is possibly replacing Maxi on the left hand side. Then we'll go back to Willock and Joe switching on that left hand side.
And I'm agree, but I've always said it's and how reference this as well. And there's another thing I'm get a bit sick of is like where someone is dropped and it's he's finished him. He's finished. Not just Maxi, yeah. It's been said about Maxi all the time, but so he might get dropped and that's it. Time's done. Doesn't trust him. Doesn't like him. Blah 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 blah. Next week he plays. And Howe's come out twice now and had to say, listen, you have to bear with us here. Like, I've got a squad of players, and tactically, I may need to change some of them chess pieces at times to win a game of football. And if Joe Linton comes in and plays left side of midfield against Man United, hey, you know what it is? Maybe I understand why. Because he might want to try and protect the right-hand side. There's loads of different reasons why. But to the question, yes, I probably agree that if Joe does come in, it probably is that area.
That left-hand side.
Because he's not going to change that 3, I wouldn't think.
We've got like Man United coming up. You've got West Ham, Everton. Like, you've got things where you probably want him battling in the middle of the... What on earth was that? I was like,
Belly.
God,
you want him battling in the middle of the park, maybe potentially over Willock's run freedom.
Oh, you would drop Willock?
I'm not saying. I'm just saying you might see him more. That there'll be more of a need for that. He's not. If you look at the 3, he's most likely to drop Willock of the 3 over Bruno and Longstaff, isn't he?
Elsewhere. I think they'll look on the left-hand side. Right, I'm going to call it a night. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you do want to become a member, like I said earlier, it is just $2.99 a month. It helps us out massively. Just like the video as well. It means a lot to us. We're really close to 10,000 subscribers. You said my stomach.
God, it's really bad, that.
Oh, it's like having...
Are you hungry? Like?
It is. Nah. So if you want to become a subscriber, you can. I think with 3.
You want to watch Chris shit yourself live on YouTube, like the video?
I've already pissed myself out the looks of it. But yeah, 10,000 with 300 off that. So just go and help.
How we're 300.
And
that's now that. Go on Facebook, on Twitter, share the latest video. Get us 300 viewers.
300 viewers.
300
subscribers.
Subscribers.
Thanks, everybody. See you later.
I want them to view as well, like.
Hurrah.